Hi, y'all. Welcome back to episode 5.
Hi, y'all.
Hi, y'all.
Hi, y'all.
Just
That's it, too. I'm keeping that. That's staying there.
How you doing?
Hi, y'all.
Hi, y'all.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm blessed.
It's been a while.
Highly favorite.
Since we were.
Yeah.
I want to hear about La La Land.
It's been
La
a
La
month.
Land.
Yeah.
Oh,
LA.
LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was La La Land. Oh.
How long you was there for?
I was there for a weekend. I flew out Friday night and I came back Monday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It was very chill. No, it wasn't chill because we were drunk. My friend, she got so drunk she threw up. I'm like, girl, we can't be throwing up in these streets looking crazy. Like,
She's outside throwing up?
I had to pull the car over. Then I pissed while she was throwing up. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot going on outside.
That's not really surprising.
It is LA.
But nah, we had a good time.
It's just,
Overall, it was a good time.
Okay. All
if
right.
it's one thing just gonna do is find somewhere to
I'm
pee.
gonna find somewhere to pee.
Was there an occasion?
Yeah, Tiffany. You met Tiffany.
Okay.
You don't remember, do you?
Mm-mm. I met her when?
When we recorded that one episode where I was too drunk.
Okay. Oh, her.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
It was her birthday.
Oh, all right. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, kitty cat.
Okay. Right.
Kitty cat might have to go because I get distracted by animals.
Yeah, she good.
So yeah, we went out there for her birthday.
Uh-huh.
Turned up real quick
Okay.
and then came back.
Is LA a place you can just go for a weekend?
It was tough because we were trying to figure out the places we wanted to hit. We were trying to hit like everything, but it wasn't enough time. So I think you do need maybe a couple more days, probably like 4 days to be able to explore. Like we wanted to go see the Hollywood sign.
You ain't missing out.
Oh, really? You want to do touristy shit?
My friend, she wanted to do that. I didn't care to do that.
Touristy shit is cool.
It is cool for pictures, memories.
For pictures,
Yeah.
I
didn't care. So
we
when we didn't go, I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we did the Walk of Fame, and that's like at least a day event.
She wanted to do that too. I did not care about seeing the Walk of Fame.
I mean, it was unless you
just looking at the ground with people's names,
right? Unless you're
Yeah.
looking for
like,
a
who
particular artist and you're like obsessed with like a particular artist. And then we took pictures because we spent so much time on the Walk of Fame. We just took pictures of the Hollywood sign from afar because that's like another. You gotta do like an actual hike. Yeah, you gotta climb up shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
isn't it like an observatory up there or something like that?
I'm sure there is. Yeah, like on like the mainland or whatever.
The what?
I call it the mainland because it's like the up on the hills, the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
So you gotta climb up shit.
How'd it feel out there?
The
They
vibe.
say LA's real dangerous these days.
Listen, at a certain so we were downtown LA. We went to get some food. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Niggas get robbed down there too. Broad daylight.
Listen, we realized like people started like leaving. They started fleeing after a certain time, like around 6:37.
It was feeling a little scarce out
Niggas
there.
was clearing out. Yeah. So I'm like,
Y'all better catch
we gotta
on.
go.
Right.
We gotta get out of here because they know something we don't know.
Right.
So yeah, you could tell you gotta be on your P's and Q's out there because you probably will get robbed. And it's a lot of just a lot of poverty, a lot of poor people. They had a bunch of tents up throughout the strip.
Yeah.
That was sad to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
I'm like,
I know.
oh.
I know.
Like, what did they do with the tornado? Like, they just had a tornado over there. So what they was doing?
They did, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the weather's tripping over there.
Yeah.
Why I asked my brother? He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like,
I don't know what.
he's like, the only storm I know is San Diego just won for basketball or whatever.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, their college basketball or whatever.
Yeah, March Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got tornadoes and earthquakes.
Then
I
they
think
got
the
a
tornado
snowstorm.
was like a one-off.
That wasn't one off. They never.
Also one off.
The guy, when I was talking to the Uber driver, he said it was like 75 years before they had another tornado. Yeah, it was like a long time ago. So
that's just like earthquakes over here in New Jersey. It's like a one-off.
oh, when we had
We
that
get them,
one?
but they're really small. We don't really feel them
compared
They
to
happen, though.
Cali. Yeah.
compared to Cali, because they're
I
right
remember one time when
back.
I was working at Target a long time ago, it was an earthquake and all the lockers were shaking. It was funny as hell. I was like, this is the fuck's
Was
going
that
on?
ba-
Remember that earthquake we had?
2012.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember
That
that.
same one, yeah.
Yeah, because I was driving home from work and I was like, oh my God.
Does everyone remember what the
What I was
just know-
doing?
I just-
Yeah.
the lockers started shaking. And I was like, why
Yeah.
are they shaking? And I was like, what?
I was at my mom's house because I was still living there, and the dining room table shook, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
pardon
It was
my
so
French.
it was so weird.
And so later we were like, "What just happened?" And we found out it was an earthquake. I'm like,
Yeah, fuck that.
In New Jersey, like
Where's was like
What's going on?
a tornado basically last
Like
night.
the ground shaking for no reason is crazy to me. It's just
Right.
that's different.
Well, I used to live in LA.
Oh, okay.
For how long?
I was a kid, maybe like a few years.
Oh, okay. You was a West Coast shorty for real.
Yeah, my brother, that's actually where
What gang you was repping?
Right.
Neighborhood.
I wasn't.
That's why she got the blue one.
Neighborhood.
Hey, because my brother was shut up. My brother was born in LA, so
Nice.
yeah, so that's why he always wanted to go back to the West Coast
Okay.
because he wanted to actually experience it.
I am an East Coast shorty. Like I have like I don't care to live there at all.
Would you move anywhere else besides?
Maybe down south. Like
Okay.
maybe like Texas.
Yeah, I could see you as a
Something
Southern
like
girl.
yeah. But West Coast is not for me. I don't
What
care
about
for
you,
it.
brother man?
If I moved anywhere, it'd be down south somewhere. I like North Carolina.
Yeah.
Charlotte,
Greensboro, Charlotte, anywhere really.
Raleigh. I heard it's like the popping place to be too.
Yeah.
I would
Raleigh is
want to
awesome.
live in like Miami for like 6 months. That's it.
Just to experience it.
Just to like it's
Honestly, I like the vibe of
it's
Miami.
good. It's dope.
Yeah, it is.
Like South
Even
Beach energy is really cool.
Yeah. Even though people start to say like, "Oh, it's so corny. Y'all done played it out now." I'm
Okay.
like,
That's-
it's still
who
it's,
cares?
right. It's still a vibe.
I can't
I
say
mean?
that I've ever been to Miami. My aunt lives there.
It's a
You gotta
feel good.
go.
It's a feel good place.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's great and all, but now that my aunt lives there, I purposely won't go.
You don't
Damn.
like your aunt? Oh. Hey,
All
auntie.
right. Okay.
She not listening.
Y'all don't have each other on social media,
No, I definitely blocked her.
Oh, this is getting deep.
right? You really got smoke with your auntie like that? Your mother's sister?
Is it real smoke? Like for real? For real?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You smiling? I'm not sure.
Oh no, yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I ain't gonna get up
I
in your
mean,
business.
we
But I kind of want to, but
so, oh man, I don't know what happened a few years back, well, more than a few, at least a decade back, but she always minding business is not hers.
How old is
She always minded my mom's business and minding my business and minding
Right.
my brother's business. And I had gotten to an age where I've had enough of her shit. And I was old enough where I could vocalize that. And one day
You did it.
I did it and it turned ugly.
Okay.
So I respect her as an elder, elder member of my family, but as like a person, nah, I always got one eye on her.
Okay.
don't you love when you get old enough to be able to curse your family members out?
Girl,
It's amazing.
this woman threatened to put this woman
got a story.
threatened to put hands on me, and I said I wish you would, because
I'm a grown ass woman. You're not
I'ma
about to
put
talk to me
hands
like that.
right
I don't
the fuck
care.
back.
Yeah, like, are you crazy,
Yeah.
lady?
she was crazy, but she met somebody crazier that day,
Listen,
and ever since that, she don't fuck with me, and I don't fuck with her.
She the ops now.
She's the ops.
No doubt.
even with my dad, if I hear him raising his voice on the phone, I will hang up. Bye. Click. You better talk to me like you got some sense.
And how often you do that with your dad?
He doesn't do it often. He knows me. He knows me well enough to not scream at me. But sometimes he'll get upset if I'm not listening to him.
Okay.
So, Jessica, you need to. Oh, okay. I'll talk to you later. Dad. All right. Bye. Click. Then he'll call back. I'm sorry. Okay.
I mean, hey.
Yeah. Like, man, you ain't.
Setting boundaries.
Why are you screaming at me? I'm not screaming at you.
Right.
I think the last time I raised my voice at my mother, or vice versa, I think I was still living with her. And we used to, like, not too often, but like every once in a while, some hands were thrown.
Oh shit!
Your
Wait a
mom got to
minute.
a physical altercation.
Hold
bro?
on.
See, I ain't never get that far.
So she got loud with me.
Okay.
And then she raised her arm, like her hand at me. And I'm not gonna
Like
like,
you were next, like right next to her, like
no,
y'all was
like
in
right
this-
in front of, like like face to face.
All right, so
She hit you with one of
demonstrate
these.
Yeah,
what
like
did?
she was about to hit me with
Oh,
the
like a back
with the
smack?
backhand
Oh, okay.
You about to fly.
Right.
So I'm like, guarding myself.
Right.
And I don't know about y'all, but in Hispanic culture, you defend yourself. That's fighting words,
Yeah.
basically.
You basically hit your mother. when you
I
defend yourself.
basically hit my mother.
That's the same.
So
with
of
black people.
course,
Right.
of course. Oh, how dare you raise your hand at your mother? And I'm like,
Gaslighting you.
You see how toxic parents be sometimes?
but this, like I said, this was a while ago.
How old were you?
Oh,
Teenager.
no, it wasn't that far ago. I would say early 20s when I was still living there. And the one thing that I learned from that is that me and my mother never were able to verbally communicate. And so that was one of the things that I found myself to be working on with her as an adult, learning how to communicate with each other and learning our boundaries essentially, because there were certain things that she would expect from me and they were just unrealistic expectations. Like she'd want me to attend every single family event and she just told me about it yesterday type shit. Like,
And because that is your mother, you have to listen to her.
Right.
That's how they think about it. Like,
right.
you don't have a life. It doesn't
So the older I
Typical girl
got,
shit.
and my stepdad, like, I don't ever hear from him. So he's
chilling in his own
he's
world.
chilling in his own world. So a lot of it really is me and my mom, like kind of relearning our friendship and relearning us together as mother-daughter. Like, where do our boundaries start? Where do I put up a wall, essentially?
Right.
To be able to have good conversations with my mom. And now we're at a really, really good place where I can call her and almost talk to her about anything and not have that fear that, oh, she's going to retaliate or some dumb shit like that. Or, she doesn't set these false expectations on me. Like, and that was like a very major thing where, maybe one year I didn't feel like spending a holiday with her. Like maybe I wanted to hang out with my friends or my partner at the time. So it would be like this big giant thing.
Understand.
Yeah. And be this big giant thing. And I'm like, you can't expect me to drop everything that I'm doing to
Every
cater to
single
your
time.
needs.
And I have a life.
I
I have a life, Mom.
have
Thank
a
you.
life.
Let me live it, please.
Right.
You gave me life. Let me live it.
And it comes down to a very almost like a very biblical conversation that she was raised on, this very biblical standard of, honor thy father or honor thy parents type shit. And as much as I want to do that for her, it's like, oh, I got my own shit that I need to
Yeah, but
worry
honoring
about.
don't mean you got to just show up.
Drop everything.
Like, I mean,
Right.
that's not honoring.
Right.
Right. So that's my relationship with my mama.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
And some members
wow.
of my family.
that was beautiful.
Yeah.
a little tear in my eye.
I like her. I think I'll keep her. Nah, I
That's
like
good,
her.
you should.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that
Very
people,
healthy. Because sometimes
just in relationships in general, the idea of like,
I'll just drink a
Some
champagne.
more,
No,
it was some more orange.
No.
you want juice? The idea of just like, it's gonna sound selfish as hell, I guess. Being beholden to people. Nah, not being beholden. Just doing shit for people because they want you to do it. I don't like it.
it's more to it than
I
that.
feel like there's no good intention from that. It's like, I'm doing this just because I'm obligated to do this for you.
Right. Exactly.
Like there's no desire for me to do it. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna half-ass it type shit.
Not even. It's just
There's no
Why are
desire
people-
to do it.
people so needy. Is my thing.
Okay, that does sound really
needy.
hard.
It's needy as hell. One thing
We still talking about parents or just people in general?
relationships in general. But it all overlaps to me.
Okay.
So like, for example, you have family events and your mom's like, you got to be at each one. Why?
Right.
But why? Really? Why?
The expectation that they place on us as their children is just wild. Because I feel like my dad does the same thing. Like, I'm your father. You need to do this for me. You need to do this for me. You should be here every doctor's appointment, all that. I'm like, how? I'm not your wife. I'm your daughter.
Right.
And
you
part.
know, like,
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Like doctor's appointments. Now, mind you, when I was younger, my mom had like a very big language barrier. So a lot of the times it was that expectation, oh, I need you to translate for me. And I got to an age where I couldn't take off of work, or I was in school, or I was this.
Just had other things going on.
Right.
And you said she's married, right? Or she's
married, yeah.
They're together still?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting that like you think that alleviates that. Like
if you have a partner.
Right, you have him.
And it's interesting because even their dynamic is interesting in that sense of the word, where they don't go with each other to each other's appointments. They don't.
See, now that to me is weird.
That is weird.
They don't do that. They go to their own appointments and then they share the information like when they get back together.
But your mom would prefer that for him to go with her?
I don't know.
Do you think?
I've never.
Just based on how she is.
I've never heard her say, well, let me ask Walter first.
Yeah.
Or like, I've never heard her say that.
That is kind of
She
strange.
just assumes you're going to go.
She'll no. I get
Right.
She'll ask me super last. Well, in the past she would ask me super last minute. Now she knows to ask me in advance because she knows that's my stipulation. Like if you want me to do something, you gotta
better give me some time in advance. I said the same thing to my dad. Respect my time, bruh. Don't ask me the same day. Can you take me to the train station? Dad, I'm laying in my bed and I'm staying here.
Right.
I do not feel well today. I'm not going to the train station.
You want me to leave the house on a Sunday?
Are you high?
You know, I'm realizing I ain't never had these problems with my parents.
Really?
And maybe that's why how I am. Because
How are you?
I'm a very don't need people for stuff like kind of person. So like, it's very rare
like
I
I'm
would
not like
ask
that too,
somebody
though.
for something. Even if somebody I'm with, like it's very rare.
I feel the same way though.
And as a result of that though, I don't like being, I don't mind being asked for stuff.
Yeah.
But if it's something I feel like is insignificant, then like, yeah, I might be like, like if you need it because you need something, that's different. Like if you need help or you need,
it has to make sense, right?
it gotta
me.
right. It gotta make sense to me.
Yeah.
But like just frivolous things.
Yes, you're
But
just
then they
asking
get mad at you because you can't
don't
decide
do
what's
that.
frivolous. No,
Yeah.
well, no, there's like, well, it's frivolous to you, but not to me. And I'm like,
Right.
well, I think it's frivolous overall.
Then I get called selfish.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But my parents never really
Oh man,
like
they used to call
needed
me
a lot of
selfish all the
stuff
time growing
to
up.
where like, you know, granted, my dad used to go to the store for him and stuff like that because you know he's a veteran. But that was nothing. But like they were never really needy. Ever.
Well, you were blessed. You were blessed.
Yeah.
I was the selfish kid growing up out of me and my stepsister.
Again, I think a lot of it was a big language barrier.
Well, that part I understand that.
Yeah.
But that made me kind of, I hate to even say
Resentment.
Yeah, resentment towards even, this is about to get real deep.
Okay, I see that gray
Resentment
hair.
even
I'm
towards,
sorry, I just saw your gray hair shining.
I know, it's alfalfa.
You say it's alfalfa.
Yeah, because it would just be sticking up. Even resentment towards stuff like speaking Spanish, teaching people how to speak Spanish. Like I got a lot of friends that'll be like, "Oh, teach me how to speak Spanish." No,
Right.
like I'll flat out say no because there's almost like a resentment towards being a translator because
You were penalized
ever
because-
since I was a kid,
Yeah.
like a kid. I'm talking about like 7, 8 years old. I always had to be someone's translator.
Right.
And that was so frustrating to me once I got to a certain age because it's like, well, there were certain items, there are certain things. Oh no, you can't go out with your friends because I need you at the doctor's.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Or can you read this letter for me? Can you and like as an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, like can you imagine having that sort of responsibility and learning how to read legal documents, doctor's documents?
And you don't know what the hell.
As a kid,
Yeah,
and like
you don't know what's going on.
Right.
You're just reading
I'm
it. Like,
like-
I don't know what this means.
right. Well, guess what? I learned real quick.
Oh man.
Child.
Like translating for stuff, like, you know, being there when something as simple as, oh, you have to be here when Comcast gets here, so for example, because you know, I don't know how to speak
You were like the acting adult
you had a
in
ball
all
in-
those situations.
And you'll see that in a lot of
So you had to
immigrant
mature a
families.
lot quickly.
Yeah, a lot of immigrant families.
a ball and chain.
Yeah.
It's a ball and chain. And then to add on top of that, you know, physical abuse, you know, emotional abuse, raising my brother, you know, being caretaker for my sisters, adding that all in it while I was growing up. It was like home life wasn't home for me. Like that's why I became so involved in like school activities and things like that as a kid, because I'm like, the less time I spend at home and like deep dive into these books, the better for me.
The better off you are. Wow, this is a really therapeutic episode.
It really is.
Like I feel like you're unloading, like you're glowing as you're talking. So
I've been glowing for a minute, girl.
Is it healing?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, therapy session.
Mimosas and therapy.
I love it. Okay.
It's the episode title right there. Wow. Yeah. I don't even know.
Look at brother man.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. I feel like you turned out well.
I did. I think so.
Considering the circumstances.
I feel like you turned out
you
well.
did.
Every day is a different step in the healing journey.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Have you ever had these conversations with your mother?
Certain conversations I did.
Okay.
Like she doesn't understand.
And if you were to have this conversation, where do you think it would go?
My mom's a good listener.
Okay.
And she, for a lot of my childhood, she wasn't there. And I think I told you that.
Oh, this is a triggering topic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For a lot of my childhood, she wasn't there. I know. And so when I talked to her about going to therapy and things like that, in the beginning, she didn't understand why I needed therapy or why I was going to therapy. So for her, she's like, well, what's going on? Like, why do you feel like this is something that's going to be helpful?
They always associate that with being like psycho.
Crazy. Yeah. Like psycho.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you? Do you belong in a mental institution, in an asylum or something like that? And I was like, no, I just feel like I experienced a lot of trauma when I was a kid.
Right.
And I feel like I'm not equipped to handle that. Or I don't know how to navigate that.
Right.
And so she's like, well, why did you experience trauma? And her first thing is, oh, well, was it me? And I was like, if we're being honest.
She said it wasn't me?
She's like,
Wasn't
no,
her.
she was asking.
Oh, she asked?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thing.
She's like, was it me? And I was like, indirectly, like you didn't sit here and beat me.
Right.
I was like, but
I know that wasn't your intention.
Right. But because you weren't
But
there,
as a result of your actions, this is what happened.
This is what XYZ happened.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was traumatized by XYZ. And so I know that for a while she felt some guilt to that. And I told her, I was like, Mom, I'm going to tell you right now. I was like, that is not your burden. That is not your responsibility to hold on to.
You're her first child, right?
No, I'm her second child.
Oh, okay.
Eddie's older.
Okay.
But I'm the only girl.
Okay.
And for a while, it was just before my brother was born. It was just me and her when we lived in LA. So she wanted to carry that burden for herself, where she was like, well, it's my fault that my daughter is feeling this way. She's like, and I wish I would have done more. And I was like, Mom, you can't hold that to yourself. Like everything happens. Why not? Because I don't feel like that's her burden to carry. I didn't feel like it was her fault. I feel like things happened, and because of that, honestly, it all started with a divorce. And I feel like had the divorce never happened, things might have gone in a different direction. Because at that point, that's when a third party comes in.
Okay.
I.e. my stepmom. So
Okay.
I feel like whose fault is divorce, right? Like that's their battle.
Right.
That's my parents' battle. So
I guess that's like a certain part of her has to take accountability for what happened, right?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have to necessarily carry it throughout her entire life, but it's just acknowledged like, okay, this is how I played a part in this.
Right.
Right. So
that's why I told her, I was like, yes.
She don't got to beat herself up over it.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's where she was headed. That's what I mean by burden. Like I was like, you don't have to burden yourself with this. Right. Like this is not solely your issue. Your decisions did cause this and this to happen, or y'all decisions caused this and this to happen. I was like, but you had no control of what would happen after the fact. Like she had no control that my stepmom was an evil person and would beat us. Like Or
Well, where was your mom at when that was happening?
I'd rather not.
Okay. So she wasn't around to be able to come in.
Yeah.
So, okay, to a certain extent, that is kind of like her fault. Like she wasn't,
Right,
she wasn't.
And it's understandable if she felt like I was unable to shield my children.
Right. Because she wasn't able to be there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. As a mother, I could.
But like
Yeah.
I said, you don't want her to, kill herself over it.
Right.
Absolutely.
But there still is some, like, you got to take onus on it.
you got to eat it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it. You
bottom
just got to
line,
eat it and
yeah.
just move past it.
And like it's kind of a natural thing to for you to not want her to feel some kind of way. But honestly, just like if you're going to therapy and you have to like face certain shit you're going through,
Right.
So
Yep.
does she.
Absolutely.
Now,
We all got to do the healing.
Like the empathy and you was like, well, mom, it's not, whatever. But realistically,
Yeah.
it's like, nah, you gotta,
Yeah.
Because that's how you learn.
right.
Right.
That's
If you dismiss it, you'll never figure out, okay, where did I go wrong? Right. So,
And then it took a lot for us to be able to have these adult conversations,
Right.
And take that information and navigate each other as two adult women having, reestablishing a mother-daughter relationship. And
I applaud that.
and there's certain, and it's crazy because how me and my mom are now and how we have open conversations. I do wish that we were able to have those conversations sooner.
A long time ago.
A long time ago.
Right.
Like,
Better late than never, though.
right.
Yeah.
And there'll be certain I'm like, damn, I was like, I wish I had this conversation like 10 years ago when I needed it.
right.
But everything happens in God's divine timing. And
Correct.
I wasn't ready to receive that 10 years ago. And
Could have went a completely different way. if
Yeah,
I had that
I remember,
conversation
like,
back
fuck
then.
you,
Hey,
like-
you feel me?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like I'm on Oprah.
Right? I'm like, child, you talking about mothers and relationships. I don't even want to get started. That's too
Why
much for
not?
me.
Jessica, listen.
Hell no. Not on this episode.
No?
And my mom's probably watching. Hi, Mom. But yeah, I can like definitely relate to the whole trying to get that relationship back in order to restore that relationship, because same situation. My birth mother, she was out of my life for since I was 9 years old. Her and my dad split. And then I just remember my dad getting married to this lady and like within a 2-month span. It was so fast.
Oh.
I'm like, what the, where did she even come from? How did you know her?
That's how I felt with
Like seriously, I'm like, this is this new lady and her child just coming into my house and just taking over. And I'm like, who are y'all?
Right.
So it took a long time for me to get adjusted to the whole new blended family structure and all that stuff. But what I found with having a stepmom, she did a really phenomenal job with raising me and just trying to make sure I felt like I was her own. Right. Okay. But I would still feel like I was being ostracized or isolated from the family. Like I didn't feel like I was a part of my family for real. And I don't know if you felt that way as being like a stepchild did you feel that a lot?
I didn't realize that I was feeling those things until I was older.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how. No one told me how to self-regulate my emotions. Right. No one taught me how to navigate this divorce dynamic. No one told me how to navigate this new blended family. So
you just got smacked with it. Like, there you go.
Right. And this is
Find
what
the mic again.
And this is what you're gonna do. And this is what's expected
and
of you.
You have to just take it. Like it's not. You can't have an opinion.
No. God forbid.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I think divorce is very selfish.
Splitting. I think in the instance.
Unless you don't have kids.
Right. I feel like my dad and my mom, they needed to be separated. Like that was the healthiest thing they could do. Because if they stayed together, I don't know how that would have panned out for me.
How do you navigate that when you're butting heads with that partner?
It's just so toxic.
How do you navigate?
Then it was selfish to have a kid because y'all probably butting heads.
And I told them they could have went to the clinic. They didn't have to have me.
Not you saying this after you already here.
Like, but why'd y'all bring? For what? Why am I here?
But honestly, that's like.
I can't speak on that because I was an oopsie baby.
You said you were?
I think most babies are.
I was
oopsie.
Yeah, of course. I was. My mom was like 19, 18. I'm sure I was
yeah.
oopsie.
Like even having a kid with somebody that you know, like you have a tumultuous relationship at times. Why would you have a kid of all things?
Because
It's
a
just the
lot of
dumbest shit.
They were just
a
young
lot
and
of
dumb,
people think
I
that
hate that excuse.
a lot of people think that a baby will fix things.
See, I've heard that too, and that's even weirder.
And because you have a common goal, a common
It's
desire.
like, okay, let's
to,
try to do this thing for
That's
real.
not gonna
Right.
make us like each other anymore.
Right.
It's not.
No,
now
and I
resent
feel
you
like
and
if-
the baby here now in
Right.
the middle of the resentment.
If anything,
Right, and now
I
the
feel
baby
like that makes
endures
you,
all the trauma.
Right, I feel like that makes you bump heads even more.
Yeah.
Because
probably.
you're talking about the upbringing of a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, maybe my partner is Catholic and I'm non-religious,
Mm-hmm.
and like you're having arguments about that, or feeding, or who's gonna take care of the baby when it starts crying in the middle of the night, shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna disagree even more because now there's like a third party crying in the middle of the night, giving you additional anxiety.
It's going to bring out all those flaws in a relationship once a baby's there. Like, y'all thought y'all had some drama before, bruh. It's going to be
and
amplified.
I've witnessed it.
Yeah, it gets crazy.
People don't take having kids serious enough.
Listen, they could have. I don't know
what I
why
say.
my dad just didn't bust in her face. Or,
Hilarious.
like, what were y'all doing?
Because, and it might have been just something as simple as
I don't even understand how they were even together. Because when I look at them now, I'm like, how did y'all date?
maybe
Two completely different people.
maybe he saw a fine looking woman.
I mean, my
But
mom,
then
when she
there's-
was a teen back in the day, I ain't gonna hold you.
There are cases, but then see, I do know
still.
cases where they're good until the kids come. It's a thing also.
They're good until what?
The kids come. That's what I'm saying. Them kids
I
will
know
bring out
couples
a
that were,
different
like,
The
great.
side.
kids will bring
of-
down a different side of you.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Like you've realized
You start to see how selfish a person is.
you realize you didn't even want them kids after you had kids.
That part.
yeah.
Listen, I'm so scared. We talked about this a lot with children because we go back and forth. We waited all this time.
So me and Jess
Yes.
have this fear essentially that if we have kids, we're not gonna like them. We're gonna regret it.
then does this stem from our relationships with our birth mothers from an early age?
I
Because we
think-
had similar situations where
Yeah.
our mothers weren't present.
Is this kids or just girls?
Kids in general.
So even if you have a boy, you feel like it'd be the same thing.
I just don't.
I just feel like it's kids in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
Because
And when I was younger, I was so open to the idea. I'm like, yeah, by 25, I'm going to have my
Yeah.
first child and blah, 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 blah. And then that time came and then I see my friends having kids.
Yeah.
And like, you know, my close ones having kids. And I'm like, ugh, that's what you go through?
my biggest fear is just repeating the same mistakes as my grandmother and my mother. I see how their relationship was. I see how me and my mother's relationship is. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
I don't have a
to an innocent being coming in. I don't know. Cause I'm just like, well, what went wrong with them? Do I have some of that?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I want to, cause it's either you gonna fall into the same
It's
pattern.
environmental.
You gonna sink or swim, Jess, and you're
Right.
gonna make sure that you swim.
Right. It's either I'm gonna fall into that or I'm gonna be the best mom ever. I don't think it's the in between for me.
No,
Like super mom or that. So
I don't have a fear of that. What I have a fear of is that I'm gonna get annoyed or like just have anxiety of their
But that's how I'm saying. That's how my mother was. I remember playing Barney on the TV and she would be screaming like, turn that shit down because she didn't want to hear the singing and stuff. It would annoy the shit out of her. So I remember watching watching this TV on 4 because I didn't want to wake her or make her mad or angry because I want to watch my little Barney show.
right.
That stuck with me as a child. I still remember that to this day.
That's crazy.
So there's a lot of things that I remember growing up with my biological mother. And if she sees this, it's whatever. But like even me being in the 3rd grade, that was probably like my worst year of grade school because I remember going to school every single day with dirty clothes. Nobody was washing my clothes. My hair wasn't done.
Shit.
Like, I can't even do this.
It's all good. You good.
I can't do this.
So my ex.
It's okay.
Yeah. I'm getting emotional now.
My ex.
Nah, I love you. I love you.
We in this
Look under
together.
your seats. No plan. All right.
Get so deep on this.
You get a car. You get a car.
I mean, but it was just very tough, like to face that. But I was always trying to be like, I was a really happy kid regardless.
Yeah.
Right.
So what would make me happy was school, my friends, because they
Yeah.
would uplift me and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But just remember
Ability
going
to escape.
home and not getting that love, that support. And then when my stepmom came in, she kind of just like changed everything. Like, you know, make sure. Yeah, she did. Yeah. Threw all my clothes out. Oh, we gotta take you shopping. Make sure your hair done.
My stepmom did.
Yeah.
Almost. And I don't want to make her to be this like
savior.
No, my stepmom.
Oh, you're talking about stepmom. Never mind.
No, the complete opposite.
Got you. Oh, she's one that. Never mind.
I don't want to make my stepmom seem like this evil monstrosity because I'll paint that picture and really make her seem like an evil monstrosity. So I'll give her props right now.
Yeah.
Before I trash her, she did the best
because I am going to trash her.
She did the best she could with what she had. With what she was equipped with, because she was also a child coming into a situation where I don't know. Yeah. My stepmom was also a child coming into a situation where like, well, what the hell am I going to do with these two kids that aren't mine? And me and
she was young.
Me and my stepmom are only 10 years apart.
Okay.
So
she was young.
She was young. And
now she's
so
like,
I was 8.
She's
instant
mom.
10 years apart?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the stepmom was a kid or so?
Yeah.
And my dad, and to be quite honest with you, you know, it was their situation. I feel like looking back on it now, it was very predatory. Like, cause my dad was significantly older than her.
He got him a young tenderoni.
And that means that he was pursuing her when she was under 18.
Yikes. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine you come into a brand new country.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, culturally it is different.
No language, like a whole language barrier. Yeah. And you're coming here to a country to raise these two kids that aren't yours. And then you are pregnant within a few months. So, like I said, she did the best that she could.
She
taught me a lot of things. She taught me how to keep a clean house. She taught me how to take care of myself and that kind of thing. She was there.
Do you feel like she instilled any confidence in you as a woman? Like,
she probably feels like a lot of anxiety is due to that situation.
Yeah, that's true.
She did. And her and my dad used to do this. They used to make a lot of comments on my body.
Oh,
and I remember that growing up because I was always, while I was petite, once I hit puberty, I started getting curved. I filled out.
Yeah.
And it was always a comment on my body like, oh, you would be perfect if you didn't have this gut. And mind you, back then I was 120 pounds soaking wet.
I saw that little picture. I'm like, look at a little toothpick.
Right. So for them to make comments like that, like,
that's weird.
That is weird.
And both her and my dad used to do it. But my stepmom and my dad used to do it. So growing up, I had a lot of body confidence issues. Yeah, where to the point where I would be very much covered up.
Because it starts from the household.
Right. And I mean, even to this day, like, how often do you see my boobs out?
Rarely.
My legs out. Like, now as an adult, I'm feeling a little bit more confident, but I had to really unlearn all that behavior, all those body issues. Because to be quite honest with you, like, I didn't even realize I gained weight. I look in the mirror and I think I'm the skinniest bitch alive.
But the fact that your dad didn't even like defend.
Oh no, my dad did not defend me at all. It got to a point where he stopped defending me and would just be like, you know,
that happens a lot.
Just go with what she says.
Oh my
God,
so
you can stay out of trouble.
I experienced the same thing with my stepmom too.
Oh, I don't even want to deep dive into my father because that's how she feels about her mom. That's how I feel about my father.
So what is it with the whole stepmom and the dad? Like, they don't come to our rescue. They just let the stepmom just fly off the rails and do whatever it is that they want, because there's some questionable shit that my stepmom has said to me. Now, she did, like I said, she did a really good job with raising me, but in certain instances, I don't know if it was some narcissistic shit she had going on, but
you would have to look at those men and see what they've gone through in their lives probably to understand.
Right.
Because you would think like, yeah, as a dude,
like, I'm your daughter,
your kid, right? Yeah. Like,
I'm your only daughter,
and that was.
Right. But so, there seems to be a thing where like some men that really, I won't say don't get along with women. They're like passive maybe, and so
that's what he was.
I would say it is bitch made, but. Ooh. That's what I think it is. But the irony...
He wanted to make her happy. Right. And by all means...
But that's sucker shit.
And he was going to let her just I remember her saying to me,
That's sucker shit.
That is selfish.
And I said this to her before. She said to me, "That's why your dad ain't your dad." And she said that to you too?
I mean, it happened.
Do they have like a handbook?
No.
like an evil handbook?
No.
Shit to say to traumatize a
No,
child.
dead ass. It honestly happened to be true, but
Well, what's crazy is
that's the plot twist.
Oh my gosh!
Your
Wait,
dad's
what?
That's really true? Your dad's not your dad?
Oh, hold on.
Oh shit! Should I get a DNA
Look
test
under your
with my
seats.
Because I had my mom up. I said, "Yo," she was like, "That is your father. That is your father." Like, I'm like, all right.
Hold on. Just to be clear, the stepmom told you that your pop wasn't your pop, and that turned out to be true.
So that's really not your pops. So who's your pops?
He
Right.
lives in Honduras. I met him.
What the fuck?
I'm
is
fucking
going
mind
on?
blown right now, bruh.
And it's so hard to have.
So you was raised by strangers.
Hello?
Let's
That's our show today.
let's take a break.
she at?
Let's take a break. I need a refill.
Wait a minute.
Yes, and then we'll come back.
Ada,
We'll come back to this.
are you okay, my friend?
We'll come
Give
back
me
to
a hand. Let
this.
me hold it.
Pause this.
What the
'cause
hell?
I need to fill my drink and call my mother back because she just called me.
Wow.
Okay, we'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back.
Hey,
Bring it back.
Hey. Welcome back to episode 5 of Pardon Our French. We left off with
Some really deep shit.
some really deep shit. Yeah, pardon our French.
Yeah.
And where we were talking about
Previously on Pardon Our French.
previously on Pardon Our French. Well, where did we leave off?
We
at?
discovered
left
that.
off about
we discovered
your-
that.
that
your
my
dad
daddy
wasn't
wasn't
your
my
dad.
daddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your
step-
stepmom broke this
And your
to you.
stepmom just said it like willy-nilly in
So-
conversation with you.
No, so they brought me to the room, and my stepmom was there.
Oh, this was a sit down.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
she's evil.
and my dad was there. My dad.
She needs her ass whooped. Bad.
We did that we did that a couple times.
Okay, y'all whipped that ass?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
She tried to whip my ass, and I
some
fought
looks
back.
back.
But anyway,
At this point, y'all are strangers. I owe y'all nothing.
No, but this is. Hold on. Get to this. I'm gonna hear
so
this.
we sat down, and my dad was just sitting there, and my stepmom was like, we
Your
want
brother also, or just you?
No, my brother is his.
Oh shit. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
Huh?
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay.
So basically, she was just like, we want to let you know that, your father's not your father.
And how old are you this time?
9.
Oh, she's
Imagine being a
evil.
9-year-old.
She's
Yeah.
evil.
Imagine being a freaking 9-year-old.
So
But no, not forget that part. But her motive is what?
She wanted.
narcissism.
She
It's
was.
pure evil.
That's what I'm saying.
I
I'll
just
tell
want
you. I'll tell you my theory after I tell you the story.
All right, go ahead.
So she sat me down. My dad was there. And she's like, we want to let you know that.
And he didn't say
you know-
shit, did he?
Nope.
Just sat there mute.
Sucker.
On mute.
Oh, very, very much so.
On mute.
And if we get to it, I'll tell you the most recent conversation I had with him in terms of our relationship. And I'll tell you what the end result of that was. So he just sat there, and I just sat there like crying. And then
Right.
they told me, made up some bullshit story and painted my mom in this like negative picture and shit like that. And at that moment, I started crying. And I was like, well, who the fuck am I? Who am I?
At 9 years old.
Where do I
Who
come
am I?
from? Yeah, I don't
Who
even know.
am I? I don't have a mother here. I don't have a father here. These people that I'm living with are suspect at best.
You're an orphan.
Legit.
But the motive, what's the point? Why are you telling me this is a 9-year-old?
So I think my theory on how my stepmom is and why she is the way that she is when it pertains to me is that I think at the time my dad did love me as his daughter.
And she was jealous of that.
And she was jealous of that.
That makes sense.
And that I think that I was a reminder to her of a previous life that my dad had with my mom.
Hold on, because that's deep. Because that's some.
I think that I reminded her so much of my mom, and maybe not by looks, because I think I look like my biological father. But maybe just in personality, maybe like the curly hair.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm a beautiful person, And I don't think she's very good looking. And I think part of that is also jealousy. I think jealousy in different factors.
Ooh,
So there's a thing.
And I felt after that, I felt very ostracized.
Right.
I didn't feel part of the family. I became my brother's caretaker in the sense of essentially raising my brother, because me and my brother went through a phase where he only listened to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did they treat your brother? Because that was his child. So
My brother was they called him terremoto, and that means earthquake, because he would destroy anything in his path.
okay.
My brother was a very rambunctious kid, very hyper, and we could go into the implications of that and what we thought that was.
Yeah.
But I was essentially a 9-year-old trying to raise a 4-year-old as a stranger in their home, and felt very much Cinderella-like. I know it's
I'm
like,
sure.
like
Yeah.
I was exposed to some labor at the house, like had like a huge chore list, learned how to cook from a very young age. I've learned how to become very self-sufficient.
Your brother wasn't treated like that though.
No.
Growing up.
No.
I'm sure. Okay.
By the time my mom came back into our lives when I was 12, I had this pure hatred for her. That's
Yeah.
the only way to describe it.
And that would make sense based on what you had to go through.
Based on
Yeah.
You left me here with these people.
Yeah.
yeah.
And this ain't my dad. It is.
I met my biological father when I was 21
Okay.
through my own
Research, like you probably.
everybody knew.
Okay.
My whole family knew. Everybody knew. And maybe in some way, shape, or form, she did me a service. But I don't feel like the way that the execution was very appropriate.
And then she was also a child.
Right.
Too. So
Your mom, your actual mom.
the stepmom.
Oh, the
She
stepmom.
remember how young she was. They were
You're saying you think the stepmom did you a service?
I feel like
What do you mean?
in the sense of
She sent a
I'm
strange
glad
way.
somebody
She told
me.
her
Why?
the way she would and what she executed.
Execution was trash.
Right.
But I feel like
You
I
still
feel like
got
you-
to know the truth.
I feel
I
like-
got to know the truth. I think I deserved the truth.
Not at 9 though.
No, that's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like execution was.
So she didn't tell you. Do you think they ever would have said anything?
I don't know. And that's the scary part.
How'd your
Like
mom,
to this day, like you probably would still think.
How'd your
Right, yeah.
How or why did your mom come back into the picture? If you ain't got to go into that. If I'm just
Why I felt like at the time I was kind of forced to reconnect with my mom.
Oh, okay.
My stepmom actually was the one that
I mean, that makes sense.
kind of pushed that.
Okay.
And she said, you need to go.
She's trying
You're
to
trying to get you up out of
trying to
there.
get rid of you.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Did your stepmom have any kids of her own?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she had 2 girls with my dad.
After younger than you or older than you?
Younger.
Younger than you. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And that was why you were living there. They had those kids, those 2 girls. Okay.
There was a few issues growing up after that. Very violent, to say the least.
It's interesting. So there's because I've read like studies about this shit where like when it comes to like family domestic disputes, children typically get abused by women. It's wild, like overwhelmingly. Like which kind of makes sense because women are probably around the kids more than men are.
Yeah,
And way more
Yeah.
emotional.
But yeah,
way more
there's a thing with like
fly off the handle.
just like certain. I mean, even my pop would tell me back in the day. One of his uncles, he had different chicks, whatever, and he had boys, and this one, I guess they stepmom, I don't know, but she treated them niggas like shit. But I guess it's like this thing like when you said like you reminded her of the past that the father had prior to you being there, and like she's jealous of it, and it's just like.
That makes
That's
sense, man.
I feel like it's
That's
definitely.
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And
But
because
that's
of
how
that
they-
experience, a lot of what I experienced, excuse me, that's champagne.
Yeah. Doesn't it make you gassy?
Yeah.
Burping?
I feel like a lot of what I experienced as a child shaped a lot of the decisions that I make as an adult.
Of course, it always does.
Especially when it comes down to relationships. Like, for example, even to this present day, I don't want to date anyone with kids because I would never want to be put in a position of that. And I don't think I'd be that type of person where you know, I would be abusive to a child or anything like that.
That ain't your dad.
But because I had that experience with a stepmom, I wouldn't ever want to be anyone's stepmom.
Right.
Things like that.
Plus, there is, I mean, so that's kind of, well.
That's why I just don't know. I looked at my stepmom and she will always say she loved me and all this other stuff. But for her to come out her mouth and say certain things like, that's why your mother don't love you. That's why that's not your dad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why?
Oh, she would say that kind of shit to you too?
She said, like, when she would get pissed off with me, she would say some really evil, nasty shit.
Taking shit on kids is so wild.
It's just, and of course, it sticks with you forever.
Right.
That's something you'll never forget. And I remember I brought that up to her as an adult. I was like, remember you said this to me as a teenager? She's like, I never said that to you.
Played off like shit.
I never said that to you.
I'm
like,
very much gaslit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, one thing, I'm not gonna forget something evil that was told to me. Yeah, like, you know, you can't forget that ever.
I did not grow up in an I love you household. I did not grow up in an affectionate household.
Yeah, affection was kind of weird for me too. Like when my friends wanted to give hugs and say I love you, I'm like, no.
I actually didn't learn affection until I was older.
Yeah,
and
same.
It's weird because my mom now, she recently said, she's like, I never wanted to be the type of mom my mother was.
Yeah.
Because her mother wasn't affectionate. My grandmother, she is not an affectionate woman. And
this is what I mean about like repeating that pattern.
Right. And my mom said she did not want to be that type of woman. She wanted to shower her kids with affection. And my mom, she's very affectionate towards us. And it took me a while to be able to receive that because I would get hugs from her and I would be fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like,
uncomfortable.
Why are you holding me?
Like, why are you holding me? Why are you giving me kisses? Like, why are you doing these things?
Tell me you love me.
Mind you, it's what I need. It's what I needed growing up. Yeah. But because I didn't receive that, because I didn't receive that from a mother figure or a father figure growing up, like I crave that. So imagine how that shapes you as a child. Shapes you in relationships, right? Yeah. Shapes your choosing of men, where you just any little bit of affection,
you're like, ooh, I love this.
Ooh, I love this.
Even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong. Because you're conditioned to accept the bare minimum. Or I was conditioned to accept the bare minimum. Like, damn, this is what I get from my father. Then damn. Like, so now when choosing relationships, I was choosing bare minimum men.
You know what's crazy about that? You say that? So when I, certain chicks I talk to, whatever, and they tell me about partners they've had, and there's always one common thing they say. Because I'll be like, well, like, you know, why was you with this nigga in the first place? And the one thing I always hear is, well, he was nice to me. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, nigga, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when you listen to this, it's like, damn, okay.
That makes sense.
I get it.
It goes all the way back.
It goes all the way back. And having to unlearn.
You don't even know why you're doing it, though. It takes you to get, like, us right now to be like, okay, we can connect the dots. Okay. This is why I'm doing this.
Right.
Child.
So receiving affection from my mom. Now you see me, I feel like I'm a very affectionate person. Where I say I love you to my friends. Like, how many times we get off the phone, I'll be like, oh, love you.
Yeah. My best friend does it all the time. And I was so weirded out when she would do that. I love you, Jess. I love you. I'm like, I love you too.
Right. You want to say it real quick. Let me see mine. Let me see mine.
I'm an emotional gangster bitch. Don't me try to make me say all that.
I'm grateful for my friendships now, where they really, I think my close knit of friends allow for me to grow into my affection and for them to be able to receive my affection.
Something that I actually figured out too recently of how the childhood trauma that carried on into my relationships, just seeking that validation. Always got to be the one. Like, I need to know that you love me, you really care about me, and I'm like trying to prove myself, jumping through hoops, doing everything, because I'm like, even back then, I'm like, well, why doesn't my mom want to be like the super mom like everybody else's mom.
Right.
You know, I'm looking at everybody else's mom bake cupcakes, do things for them. They have this sweet relationship, getting pedicures and all that. I'm like, why don't I have that with my mom? I'm like a good student. I'm this, I'm that. And I just could, for the life of me, I could not understand. Like, am I not good enough?
Did you go through the phase where you started doing bad shit so you get attention at home?
I don't think I ever went through that. I mean, maybe a little bit in high school with boys.
Yeah, same.
I definitely ran away from home, kind of, sort of. I went to my friend's house, so that counts. But yeah, at a certain point, I just didn't give a damn anymore.
Man, this is so interesting to me because
What?
You don't know
stuck.
because it makes you think about certain chicks I've been with and like why they acted how they acted.
Yeah.
Even the bullshit I'm going through. Like when I think about what y'all saying, I think about her and what she's told me about her parents.
So you're able to understand her more.
I understand why the bitch is crazy.
Okay.
Now.
There you go.
That doesn't give it a pass. It allows you to be empathetic to a situation.
Here's the thing though. So when I used to work for the Trenton School District, like one thing that I saw that kind of changed the way I thought about things. And, you know, these were like 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And they were really like from really messed up backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And so it's like they're being pushed through school. They really can't read. Like the parents is all messed up, whatever.
Right.
And then they turn 18 one day and now it's like life is on them.
Right.
Right. And so like to what you said, it's like you can't blame the person. You really can't. Even as an adult. Why all of a sudden can you blame them now? Nothing changed. Their whole life from a kid to adulthood, they were fucked up.
Yeah.
So they don't just magically change when they get 18 and now I can be normal. Like, nah, that's not how it works.
If you live on survival mode for
that's all you're going to be operating on.
Right. So it's like it's not their fault really.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it really isn't.
But at some point you do learn and you feel like, okay,
But do you?
Kinda.
I don't know about that.
Everybody doesn't.
I think
if you hit rock bottom,
you come to like the crossroads, like, okay, I don't like my life right now, right? I don't like the direction.
You're like
I'm
a rock
going
bottom
in.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah. You might go.
I think some people receive the information, and it definitely takes you seeing that you're living not to your potential, essentially.
And who knows how long it's going to take you.
Right.
It might not ever happen in this lifetime.
Right.
I do understand that.
And so, because you're responsible for your own undoing of the behavior.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're that's how to work.
Yes.
You mean to tell me 20 years, 25 years of me living this one way was completely wrong?
It was wrong.
I don't know anything else but this life.
Right.
So where do I even start?
Even as an adult, if you, even with yourself and when choosing a partner, if your partner doesn't understand that you're undoing behavior, then they're going to take everything that you do.
That's the other thing.
Personal.
Yeah. They're going to take everything that you do personally.
Very personal.
That's because that's me.
Yeah,
of course.
Because I'm like, listen, I don't know if I'm wrong with you, but
and you ain't grow up in a situation like that,
right?
Exactly.
So you have no clue.
I'm confused why you acting this way.
You have no idea.
You might not even be equipped to handle
and
exactly.
And because I was thinking too, like you don't know who you're dating really, because you don't know what they've gone through. So like I had a pretty cool childhood, as you know, just. Well, overall, it was fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like if you meet somebody who may have gone through all these things, you have no idea.
Right.
So you don't have the ability to even be empathetic because you don't even know that there's something to be empathetic about.
Right.
Because imagine having this conversation on a first, second, third date.
Exactly.
And then looking at you like, yo, you good?
Right. So now I'm just thinking something wrong with this person, and I don't.
And it's more to it.
It's like it's a whole lot more to it.
It's way deeper.
It's
way deeper.
But I'm not equipped to handle this shit.
And you don't have to.
And you don't.
And that's your decision on whether you want to handle that or not.
But I'm saying you wouldn't know either way. But I'm just saying, like, now you might find yourself in a situation where it's like a ticking time bomb. just because.
Oh, it might
just
be
because.
Or even like, okay, you know that the person is doing their, or however you want to call it, their therapy, their shadow work, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to believe it,
whatever journey you're going
on. If you know that person is doing the work to improve themselves, it's like at that point, if you're in a relationship with someone or looking to pursue a relationship with someone, you have to at that point decide, okay, am I going to support this person in their journey? You know, do I like them enough to support them in their journey?
Right.
And you're not a bad person if you decide not to.
Right. And I think
you're not obligated.
And I think if people are finding out this information years in, imagine,
that's a problem.
That's the And you really gotta get to the,
and it's
the
like,
bottom of who you're talking to.
As a partner, do you support this person continuing this journey and expecting shit to go wrong every once in a while?
I could support you from a distance. I love you. You take care. Goodbye. Like, honestly, if you came across somebody who's gone through the same exact thing you've gone through and maybe they're not as far in their path as you are, like as far as improvement and, you know, finding yourself or whatever it is, would you be able to handle that with your own baggage that you got going on? Or you like...
The problem, there's a deeper problem there, though. The deeper issue is that you're already invested in this person.
Right.
Yeah,
if you're a year or two deep.
Right.
Yeah, without asking the questions up front or getting to know them.
But again, imagine having these conversations for
you might need to. You might need to save yourself some time.
Yeah, but then you have to be empathetic to the person that's going through some stuff. You're not going to tell or you're not going to tell somebody I would assume you wouldn't.
I wouldn't tell Joe Schmo off the street. No.
Right.
You won't.
Like, by the way,
some sort of investment.
I guess it all it would depend on how the relationship is going.
Right. And then at that point, it's like, what does that other person do? Like, do you support this person in their journey?
But people have a tendency to, and this is just what dating is in general, have the tendency to make you like me first.
And then at that point, you're locked in.
On my stuff. I want you to like me first.
So you're locked in, but you were locked in because you didn't know all that other stuff that was going on.
You're locking on false pretense.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you have to have
that false advertisement.
That's human nature, though. Unfortunately, that's just what it is.
That's most relationships.
That's how it goes.
Because
essentially, you would have to unload. Yeah. Hey, just watch episode 5 of. I'm about to send them to link to this episode. Watch this episode,
and I'm still holding back. So
and then let me know if you're equipped.
Are you still interested?
Yeah.
Hey, damn, that girl got a lot going on.
Yeah, that girl got a lot going on.
Right.
But I feel like everyone has, to a certain extent, everyone has some sort of baggage, right?
Yeah.
We're all taking something.
And I know that my baggage is not the same as your baggage.
Yeah. So I think I'm willing to accept somebody for who they are, depending on, obviously there's levels to this.
Right, there's levels to this.
There's levels to this. But I could have that empathy.
Would you date a drug dealer?
A drug dealer? I thought she was about to say a drug addict. I'm like, oh. A dealer, yeah.
Would you date a drug addict?
No. Okay, a former drug addict.
I would.
If okay, how long this person's been clean? It's a lot of questions I have to ask.
They've been clean for a year.
Okay, I could see where it goes.
They say once an addict, you're always an addict.
I
don't think that's true.
They say no. And there's a reason for that, because they say when you have addiction, it alters your brain chemistry, and that you're fighting every single
day. And I can imagine
like Snowfall. You watch Snowfall?
To not be an addict.
I haven't watched Snowfall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They do a really good job of the girl. She gets addicted to the crack, and then she recovers.
Okay.
And but now she's still around the hood.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to be around this shit because
yeah.
Just
it's
it's an everyday.
And she's still tempted to want to go back to that. But revert back to that.
Still it's just scary because she knows where she came from. So it's
it's a constant.
I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
okay.
They do a good job of that.
Because there's temptation everywhere.
It is. That's some baggage, but it would have to be a lot right in that situation. That's the only thing wrong. You used to be on drugs, okay, but everything else checks out. Sure, let's see where this is going. But
all right.
Next thing I know, I wake up and my TV going, my car going,
not the TV.
Yeah.
Where my car go, baby?
Damn, where my laptop at?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Phone, laptop, all the
your
electronics
shit
is out of there.
Jewelry.
Did we get robbed, babe?
Did we get robbed?
Like, no, just you.
Because it's your shit. So
I came up. I don't know what I'm talking about.
listen, man, that's insane.
No, this was
This was a great one. Can we end on something light real quick? Because that was real heavy.
We can.
Just a real quick light topic.
Oh, like hold on the topic? I don't know where to go to this.
Where do we go? Right, like
My head is doing this. It's doing one of
I don't
these.
think we should end the light topic. No.
No, we good. We good.
I think this was real.
This was
Raw.
a real.
this was real.
And this was like off the dome. This is a freestyle.
Just to go, because that's another human nature thing, what you just did.
What?
It's okay if you talk about something heavy and you let it marinate.
And let it be heavy.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
So my shoulders hurt.
That's fine.
Ouch.
Yeah, you ain't got it, because once you say let's end it on a light note, it kind of like makes it seem like
It wasn't important.
no, but it makes it seem like there's like you're putting stigma on it now. Like there shouldn't be a stigma on expressing real emotion.
Yeah.
real
And I
shit.
do appreciate you for being so transparent. Shout out to you because you definitely laid it all out there for our audience. Like, you know, because that takes a lot too. Because this is going to be on YouTube that, you know, everybody can come back here and play this over and over and over and over again.
I just want to say I love both you guys.
Brother, man, you ain't share a damn thing. I don't know.
He had a great childhood.
It was pretty.
You ain't had no problems your whole childhood.
Not really.
No childhood trauma.
Only issues that
you never got bullied. You never experienced anything in school.
No. Only issues I had with my parents argued a lot, but they were because they were different religions. So that was annoying. But
Well, shout out to you.
I mean, that shit was annoying. But you know, overall though, it didn't really affect us like as growing
Your clothes
up.
wasn't dirty.
Nah. Nah.
You ain't shit.
You ain't get screamed at for watching Bernie.
Nah, not at all. Whew.
You ain't get beat because the carpet was out of alignment.
Oh my goodness.
Why
You like Penny from Good Times.
why do women? I feel like women have it hard, right? Or girls, young girls.
I didn't even unload
usually
all of
from
my
other
baggage,
though.
yo.
That's the irony of it.
What is that?
It's envy. It's like precious.
I feel like it is envy.
It's envy.
It's definitely.
Because I'll say this.
Precious.
I'll say this. We can close
that's
this
wild.
I'll say this, like, even, and I probably said this before, even like when dealing with women, right? Mm-hmm. The way a lot of ones I've dealt with, the way they attach to you is and like I don't really mind it, but like it's interesting.
Right.
Like I remember I asked one chick, and I was just like, she would say stuff like, "I'm the best thing ever happened to you," and I'm like, "No, you're not."
Yo.
But
I'm sorry to tell you, but
you're not though.
You're not.
But why do you need to be?
It's that.
But I think that all goes
for
That validation. That's what I'm
right.
talking about.
But then
You
also
chasing it.
that kind of like putting it all together, like you know, it's like so any history I've had with other people, other women, whatever, like that's a threat to you, and like why?
Yeah, I could.
Because any history you've had with men is not a threat to me.
I feel triggered.
But a lot, and that's an.
I need to know. I need to know that I'm the best. I need to know that.
Yeah, that's toxic to me now.
I mean,
well, not toxic to me now. That is toxic in general.
It is. But I just need to be accepted. I need you to tell me that I'm so good.
And that's the thing. That's dangerous.
But I see where it stems from.
Nah, I see where it stems from.
I mean, it is
But
dangerous.
that's
yo,
being a man.
They gotta sort through that. I get it.
And it's crazy because I'm very
You
clingy.
can't look at your man to be that.
I'm very clingy in relationships. I'm
like,
very if I
it's
like
weird.
you enough, I'll attach to
I'm
you.
clingy, but I'm not. It's such a strange like balance that I have going on.
But I've also haven't been in a relationship in a very long time, so I wouldn't even know how to navigate a new relationship going forward.
Yeah, it's just wild.
Yeah, I was thinking like if my husband were to come tomorrow, would I run him off? You know, and I'm consistently always just trying to like make sure I'm consciously changing things that I do not like or I don't feel would be healthy in a relationship.
I low key feel like I would run my husband off if I met him tomorrow.
Even in my friendships, I'm like, okay, there's certain ways that I act. I used to definitely fly off the handle at anything.
Yeah,
and
we know.
you know that.
We know.
Right? So I've been trying not to do that.
Yeah.
When's the last time I flew off the handle? Do you know? Which, at least with us.
last year sometime.
You see?
Yeah.
You see?
Progress.
But there was a while there where I thought where I felt like, damn, I gotta tiptoe how I navigate with Jess.
And somebody else said that same thing to me. They was like, you know, I know I have to watch what I say, and I have to watch
Or
what I do.
how I say certain things.
Because if you're talking to me a certain way, then I'm just like,
Right.
Right. Like you can misconstrue. And there's a lot of times there I would send you messages and you would misconstrue what I said.
and this is why I hate text, like when we're having like a serious conversation,
Right.
Because that's easily
can be. And then I'm the type of person where I just kind of I tend to say what just comes off, and I don't filter it.
And you ain't thinking about it before you say it.
And I'm like, I'm like,
did she not realize what she just said?
I'm like, oh, damn,
am I tripping?
I mean to say it like
Oh,
that.
you said this? All right, now I'm on defense.
She's like, well, now I need to know. Now I know how I have to navigate around you. And I'm like, well, what you mean? I ain't mean it like that, girl. Sorry.
Listen, I'm trying to do better, y'all. I'm trying to do better. A couple people that told me I was mean, but I'm working on it. And shout out to my future hubby. I love you, baby.
I love you, baby.
I'm gonna be good. By the time you come to me, I'm gonna be good. I swear. I'm doing the work.
Run, nigga. No,
I think to end it on a lighter note per se, I'll say that every day is a different journey for all of us, and that we are
Ada Luther King.
I feel like
peaceful,
like dead ass. Like
no, seriously.
I feel like
don't stop
believing.
Good.
I feel like
that was so random.
She said journey, and it made me think of them.
I feel like every day we're at a different step, and I feel like if you just treat every day as a blank slate and know and use your knowledge that you've learned.
This is why I don't care about like people like, oh, if you could do it over and go back in time. No, because I would not be who I am. I know it's cliche. It sounds corny. It sounds dumb. But like, think about it. Yeah. Think about the growth.
That's interesting you say that, but never mind. I won't go deep into that.
Yeah, because you were about to.
Yeah,
because it's like based off what you said, you could go back. Why wouldn't you change shit?
What I'm gonna change?
Never mind.
No, seriously. What can I control?
No, that's not the question. The question is if you could change it, would you?
What, with my parents and all that?
Right. Why wouldn't you?
Pick different parents?
Of course you would.
Would you pick?
Well, what would the outcome be?
You don't know.
Exactly.
But
like,
what if I'm worse off? Yeah.
That's the risk.
And I don't know if I'm willing to take that, because I feel like right now, like, I had some shit that happened in my childhood, but I'm not done.
I feel like
Fair enough.
I feel like I was very blessed.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
In the terms, in the term of like, it could have been a lot fucking worse.
It definitely could have been worse.
That's true.
You could be somewhere strung out, with a needle in your arm.
But guess what? I got my own car.
With the glass not breaking, that's cool.
I got my own car. I got my own place.
Period.
I got a good job.
We out here doing it.
I'm
a homeowner.
I like it. I like that.
just look at your beautiful blessings in life now.
And God gave me the intelligence to make the bread I want to make. Like, he made me, like, I might not be talented where I could sing and shit. Like, I'm not creative like Brother Man.
Hello, my baby. Hello.
I can't play the piano and do all that carrying on, but he gave me something so I could work, something I could work with.
But I'm carrying on.
And on that note, we carrying on. All right, episode 5. Thank y'all for tuning in. We hope y'all enjoyed this episode. It's very different from what we're usually doing.
Make sure to share, follow, comment, and subscribe.
If y'all don't go ahead and subscribe, stop playing with me.
Hit that thing on the
hit that
little bell.
Wherever
Ring
it is.
that bell,
baby. And we out of here.
Ring my bell.